Hi and welcome everybody back to our channel. This week we're going to be looking at what is management. Have you been a manager? Are you a manager? Have you recently started a managerial role within your organisation? This week is all about what does that look like? What does that mean to you? What has that meant to myself and Mohammed over the last years of our careers, and how we've moved up through the ranks, as it were, to get to the positions we are now. So we're going to try and provide some understanding of what that is in this video, and how that role impacts on a day-to-day basis. Mohammed?
Hi, Pete. Hi, everyone. Great to be back here again. So, Pete, in preparation for this call, I looked up at the definition of management in various dictionaries to see what they come up with. The Collins Dictionary says it's the act, art, or manner of managing. The Webster says the act or art of managing. That always cracks me up when they say the management is the art of managing. But you and I have agreed over the years that the definition in a simple way of looking at it is the alignment and motivation of resources to achieve a common goal. Now that could be applied to all scenarios in terms of what you're managing, i.e. you've got to have a goal, you've got to have resources that you've got to align, and you've got to keep those resources motivated to achieve the end goal. So that definition works for us. And just reiterating the four aspects of that definition, and that is, one, having a common goal that everybody gets behind. Number two, having the resources to achieve that goal. Number three, aligning the resources in the correct order to achieve the goal. And number four, keeping those resources motivated so that you don't fall off the rails midway and you achieve the goal. So in short, Pete, I think that's the definition of management that we think is most apt for whether it's a small scope or a large scope. Do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, well, let's put that into practice, Mohammed. It's as simple as this, isn't it, really? So whether it's a small project or a major project, the fundamental principles of what you just explained management is apply. So it can be as simple as, right, I want a cup of tea. So my motivation is I'm thirsty. Okay, I fancy a cup of tea. What do I need to achieve that goal? So there's the goal. The goal is I get a cup of tea at the end of it. I need to find the resources then to produce the cup of tea. So the resources come in the form of the electric, if you're boiling an electric kettle, gas, if you're using a gas stove, the water to make the tea, and your materials then come in the form of your tea bag, your sugar, your spoon to stir it at the end, your milk. So, and then you've got to bring all these elements together to achieve the end goal. So the objective of a cup of tea, the goal is to make it. The motivation is I'm thirsty. So that is a simple explanation as to the definition of what management looks like. So then the alignment of those resources, still focusing on what Mohammed's already explained management to be. Let's not forget those are the core aspects that we're trying to apply here, whether they're small or large projects, is the alignment of those resources. So all the kettle, well, you put your kettle on, you've got your gas, your electric, the kettle's boiling. We don't just stop and wait for the kettle to boil, because there's other activities that we can be doing to achieve the goal. And these are, you get your cup ready, you put your tea bag in your cup, you get your spoon ready, you get your bowl of sugar next to that. And then once the kettle's boiled, you pour your water, you mix the water into the desired strength, whether you leave the tea bag in there for 30 seconds or 3 minutes, that all becomes part of your schedule. So when you're scheduling out these activities, they must align. So while the kettle's boiling at the top line, all these activities are going on. Once the kettle's boiled, the rest of the activities continue to achieve the goal of producing the cup of tea. And this can be applied to making a cup of tea, or such projects as HS2, which is an absolutely phenomenal project with lots of complexities, but at its core, what management is are the areas that Mohammed's gone through at the beginning of this episode. Mohammed, is that a fair assumption?
Yeah, a fantastic way of explaining that, Pete. Really good way of explaining, because something as simple as making a cup of tea, and you nicely put all the four elements that we talked about, going from the goal, aligning the resources, and keeping those motivated. So really good analogy there. Now, I didn't think we were going to reach the dizzy heights of making managers of making a cup of tea, but hey,
we made it.
I mean, as simple as it sounds, it actually we are managers, whether we're in the corporate world or whether we're in our family life. We are managers of whatever the scope may be. And that's a fantastic way of looking at it. Now, when I first became a manager, and I became site manager, and this is going back a few years now. And I was, you obviously get happy. You say, I'm a manager, fantastic, I'm a manager, not really knowing what a manager is. You just feel, well, or you're a manager, what are you doing? I'm managing things. So going back to the definition, not really knowing what management is. Now, since then, I've thought about this often, and I've had younger engineers come up to me. In fact, quite recently, an engineer who's been doing technical stuff for the last maybe 4 or 5 years, he's now in probably a place where he's looking to become a design manager. He's in the design field. He wants to become a design manager. And he came up to me and he said, Mohammed, can you give me some advice? What do I need to do to become a design manager? So, and I usually give the answer twofold, Pete. One is the interpretation or the definition that you just spoke about, and that is essentially it's the alignment of resources to achieve a common goal and keeping those resources motivated. Now, that's just a mouthful statement. There's another way, or an easier way, of looking at what management is, and you've probably come across the management triangle, or AKA the iron triangle, AKA the project triangle. There's different permutations of the same thing effectively. And sometimes they change the definition on the 3 points of the triangle. But essentially, Pete, the way I see it, and I'm pretty sure you probably see it the same way, the triangle of management is scope, cost, and time. And if you focus on those 3 parts of the management, you achieve, which usually sits inside the triangle, is the quality. And that's how, in fact, it's a quick way of assessing anything. Recently, Pete, I was going to put a shed in the back garden, and I go through that process. Well, I need a shed. What's the scope? What type of shed do I need? Do I need a small shed, big shed? Is it going to be big enough to put the tools that I've got? So it covers off the scope bit. And so that I normally, and then I think, well, how much money have I got to buy that shed? That's the cost bit. Am I going to be able to afford it, or do I need?
Usually the painful bit as well.
Yeah, it is the painful bit. And then the other bit is the time. How quickly do I need to get it? And in this instance, because we're still in summer, I've got to do it before winter comes, so that my stuff isn't being left out, because the old shed, I've got rid of it. So it's a very quick way of assessing the management bits, if you like, of anything that you're trying to do, whether that's in your personal life or whether it's on a complicated project, like you said, with HS2 or any of all the other, because those components still remain the same. They don't really change. The complexity of the project may demand that your program is a lot more sophisticated, and it goes into various software, whether that's within Primavera or something like that, and then you've got a bunch of planners reviewing each line, but the principle is exactly the same. So yeah, I mean, the other definition that an easy way of understanding what management is, that management triangle: scope, cost, and time. Do you want to go into the bit that we haven't talked about, Pete, is the motivation bit of the definition? Do you want to give us your thoughts of what you think that motivation is?
Yeah, so I mean, a simple definition of motivation to start with: a reason or reasons for acting or behaving in a particular way. So if we focus on that, the motivation, coming back to the common goal, you know, within our roles as managers, we have a common goal to motivate our teams and motivate ourselves to achieve that goal. How we do that is one of the elements of management, which we will look at in more detail in a different video. But if we focus on the resources, the alignment, and the goal areas of what management is, the motivation of each of those elements is the key to achieving the goal. How we can achieve a common goal, you can break down into objectives. So you'll have objectives along the way, or key milestones, and the motivation for those could be that once you get to a certain objective point and you're actually being efficient and you're driving efficiencies into the schedule, so you've got to the area and it's actually a week early, so you can start the next element a week early, then the next element, and each of those elements has a key milestone, and then you achieve the goal, and actually you're 2 weeks early achieving the common goal. That's a motivation. That's a challenge to the team. It's like, we've got 6 months to do this. I want to do it in 5 months. How are we going to do that? That's motivating the team and challenging them to achieve that goal in less time than your customer expects it to be. And that in itself is a motivation. There may be things along the line, team building exercises, you know, you may go-karting, that motivates the team. It keeps the spirits high, a social aspect of things, you know, really gelling with the team and making sure that everybody's on board, focusing on those key elements as we discussed earlier on the triangle. You know, the quality will come through those 3 other areas: your scope, your cost, and your schedule. The quality will really shine through if you nail those elements down. And on their own, those elements are other topics as well. But for this video, we're really focusing on what management is, and in our minds and our experience over the last, it's many years now between us, that this is what management is. And we will touch on later on and break those down into their other areas. There's lots and lots to do on this channel. Is that okay, Mohammed, for now on the motivation bit? I think we can spend
it's and modern contracts on large projects now to motivate contractors and designers, and I'm sure it's the same in other fields. They create contracts to motivate you, so that if you reach the goal, if you like, deliver the project by the due date, then there's incentives in place that give a share of the profits, perhaps a larger share of profits. So that becomes a motivation. But then there's also something else less spoken about, is that the motivation can be in the negative sense. You might be motivated more so of losing money. You know, so that if you go beyond the date, then you start losing money. You've got all these resources that are just hanging around, you know, to complete the project, which are costing you, so your profit margin. So motivation can come in 2 forms, in terms of gain, where you're improving things, and from pain, where you're motivated not to receive the pain. But Pete, I suppose if I was to explore that definition a bit more, at the moment we said that it's to achieve a common goal. It's the alignment of the resources and motivation of them. But there's a couple of aspects that we haven't covered in this definition, and that is, you could improve the outcome, a bit like what you've just explained. We could improve the outcome, and from a project that was due for finishing in 6 months, like you've said, you finish it in 5 months. But there is an active approach. The definition has to have an has to have a firm definition of doing something to improve things. So you could improve the outcome, or the 6-month goal could be at risk. So it doesn't happen in 6 months, it happens in 10 months. And that is a risk element that you've got to protect that goal. So this, as we know, Pete, can come in the form of, to improve things. You have things like value management, innovation, lean. You've talked about lean principles. All these, although they're words, they're all about trying to improve the goal effectively. That might be in terms of time, that may be in terms of money, that may be in terms of safety and quality, but you're trying to improve that the end goal. So that's one bit of it. And then the other bit is the risk, that the risk is that you could delay the project, or you can end up costing more, or there may be safety implications, or there could be quality implications. You delivered on time, but the quality of the product is absolutely rubbish and nobody likes it. So all those things need protecting. So the definition from the one that we gave earlier on could be expanded to the alignment and motivation of resources to achieve a common goal, progressively seeking to improve the outcome and protecting it against failure. And we'll go into some episodes where we'll talk about risk assessment, risk analysis, to make sure that you're protecting the end. And we'll also talk about innovation, value management. Those will be coming. But yeah, so in conclusion, I would say the definition of management in the modern world would be the alignment and motivation of resources to achieve a common goal, progressively seeking to improve the outcome and protecting it against failure. Do you want to summarize things, Pete?
I think you've done it in a nutshell today, to be fair, Mohammed. So guys, I hope you've got something from this video and our conversation. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. We'll put in some, we've got a LinkedIn channel as well now, or a LinkedIn page, so I'll put the link in the description below. So please come over to that. That will keep you up to date as well on the latest developments for our channel. We hope you've enjoyed it. Again, thank you. Personal thank you for myself from looking at the introduction video and the comments we got from that. All very positive feedback, and we look forward to hearing more of those comments in the future.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Apologies if you heard some noise in the background with my son. He probably wants some food or something. I need to throw something at him.
That's a resourcing issue there, Mohammed, I think.
I better go and make that cup of tea, mate.
Yeah.
Record.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to our channel. This week, we're going to look at what is management. Are you a manager?